everyone, and welcome to the 700 Club. Well, the rush of confirmation hearings begins today for President-elect Donald Trump. Democrats don't have the votes to stop the appointments, but they still plan to slow things down. The hearings come as the new president will face some deadly challenges from other countries, including the nuclear programs of Iran and North Korea. Dale Hurd has the story.
On the hot seat today, retired Marine General John Kelly for Secretary of Homeland Security and Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions for Attorney General. Democrats are looking to make the Sessions hearing confrontational. They've dredged up allegations from 31 years ago, when Sessions was rejected for a federal judgeship over claims he made racist remarks, charges he forcefully denies.
I am not a racist.
Sessions will face opposition from some black leaders, but he also has support from a group of black pastors who say he's being demonized. 7 other Trump nominees are also set for hearings this week. With 10 days until his inauguration, the president-elect was sounding confident his cabinet will be ready to go.
They're going great. Confirmation's going great.
They haven't started yet.
I think they'll all pass.
After complaints from Democrats that Trump wasn't moving fast enough on cabinet picks, now they're complaining he's going too fast and that there's not enough time to properly vet all the candidates.
Everybody will be properly vetted, as they have been in the past.
One position that does not require Senate confirmation, senior advisor to the president. Trump has announced his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, for the position.
Jared Kushner.
But we'll talk about that on Wednesday.
Monday night, Trump advisors huddled with House Speaker Paul Ryan on a plan to cut taxes and simplify the federal tax code. Meanwhile, outgoing President Obama has left Trump with some foreign policy messes that will have to be addressed. In the Persian Gulf, a U.S. Navy destroyer had to fire warning shots at threatening Iranian vessels. This as Iran is set to receive a huge shipment of uranium from Russia for its nuclear program. And Israel will come under more pressure this week when a global gathering of diplomats in Paris is expected to push again for a so-called two-state solution, giving the Palestinians their own nation side by side with Israel. Relations between Israel and the U.S. bottomed out under President Obama. President-elect Trump, a big supporter of Israel, has told the Israelis to hang on until he enters office. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Thanks, Dale. Well, in today's world, there is no shortage of issues that need prayer, and that's really what you and I are called to do, isn't it? So let's be faithful in that. Let's lift up our leaders, our incoming leaders. Let's lift up those appointments that are being made and what's happening internationally as well. So much that we need wisdom in. Well, in other news, Palestinians are protesting President-elect Trump's plan to move the United States Embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. John Jessup has that story from Washington. John?
Thanks, Terry. The president of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, has sent a letter to President-elect Trump asking him not to move the embassy. The official Palestinian news site Wafa reports Abbas said it would disastrously affect the Israeli-Palestinian peace process and the security of the region. Becky Norton Dunlop of the Heritage Foundation is part of Trump's transition team. She told CBN News that many Americans believe Jerusalem is the capital of Israel and that the U.S. Embassy should be moved there.
It will fall to the president and his foreign policy advisors to look more into this issue, and they're going to have a strategy. And part of a strategy is a communications policy. How do you make it clear to the rest of the world that this is the right thing to do? And how do you do it in a way so that it doesn't incite violence? There's always going to be opposition, but that opposition can be informed, it can be civil, or not.
In 1995, Congress mandated that the U.S. Embassy be relocated to Jerusalem, but no president has ever followed through on a promise to move it. Well, President-elect Trump has been critical of China, one of the country's largest trading partners, and his public statements suggest a much tougher pro-American approach. Gary Lane has more.
During the fall campaign and since his election, Donald Trump has made it clear he intends to change the U.S.-China relationship. He says previous deals with China have been unfair to America.
We're being hurt very badly by China with devaluation, with taxing us heavy at the borders when we don't tax them.
Many U.S. products like DVD players, video games, and motorcycles are taxed at a rate of at least 30%. So that makes American-made products more expensive for Chinese consumers. In return, Trump has threatened to slap 45% tariffs on Chinese products entering the United States. However, some economic experts like Gordon Chang suggest Trump should re-examine his approach.
China has been manipulating its currency, but it's been keeping it at an artificially high level, and that hurts Chinese exporters. They need to maintain the currency at a high level to discourage people from sending money offshore.
Trump is also concerned about China's military buildup in the South China Sea. The Beijing government insists historically the area belongs to China. China's recent seizure of a U.S. submersible drone suggests the South China Sea dispute between the U.S. and China seems far from over. This area is also the source to some of the world's busiest shipping lanes, where billions of trade passes through each year. President-elect Trump warns China's militarized takeover could escalate regional tensions. Lastly, how does Donald Trump get China to bend on these issues? Some experts believe he's planning to use Taiwan as leverage in negotiations. Since 1979, the United States has embraced a one-China policy. That means the U.S. does not recognize Taiwan as a separate country. Shortly after his election, Trump accepted a congratulatory phone call from Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen. That created a firestorm in diplomatic circles and from Beijing. It signaled that Trump was prepared to overlook the approach of previous presidents.
Why should some other nation be able to say, I can't take a call? I think it actually would have been very disrespectful, to be honest with you, not taking it.
International relations professor Shi Yin-hong says Trump needs to be cautious.
If Trump takes tough actions against China, China will finally hit back. In that case, the economic and trade interests of both will suffer huge losses, and global economy and finances will suffer huge losses.
To smooth over the rough edges, Trump chose Iowa Governor Terry Branstad to be China ambassador. Branstad has a long-time relationship with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Once Trump is sworn in as president, the review process for the new ambassador to China will last at least 42 days. In the meantime, Trump is expected to continue to reassess U.S.-China policy. Gary Lane, CBN News.
Thanks, Gary. Well, the Iraqi army faces strong resistance in its campaign to liberate parts of the country from ISIS. And as Chris Mitchell reports from near Mosul, some on the front line see their effort as part of a much larger war against evil.
You really got to understand that prayer works. It's not just a cliche. So be fervent in your prayers.
Victor Marks believes prayer makes a difference.
That vehicle right there, that's one of our armored vehicles. And I'm telling you right now, that thing has taken RPG shots from like 30 meters away. That's missed and been right in the middle of fire. And there's not one round hit on it. And that's because of the power of prayer. Really, Christians at home must pray.
So what do Christians serving here want people at home to pray? Dave Eubank leads a team on the front lines, offering medical and humanitarian aid.
That ISIS will be quickly defeated, that, to me, all peoples will be free. Kurdistan, I think, should have its own place. And that the Shia and the Sunni and others and the Christians will learn how to live together. Not learn. This is the power of God. We need that. It's not a learning issue. It's a heart issue and a spiritual issue. I think those are the main things to pray for.
CBN News joined Sister Diana in the Christian town of Karakosh, devastated by ISIS. She wants prayer for those suffering across northern Iraq.
I pray that people will have passion toward their brothers and sisters who are suffering here, to help them, to pray that God will send people to support us to rebuild all this. This is going to need some support, and to hold us in their daily prayers so God will give us strength and to continue our faith.
This battle goes beyond soldiers and fighters.
It's real moms with babies and children. It's husbands who've been killed. It's men who no longer have work, or they've been diminished to such place of, shame and guilt.
Dalton Thomas leads a ministry supporting the Kurdish military and relief aid.
When I pray for Kurdistan, I pray the same things over and over again. Lord, I pray, give the leaders geopolitically wisdom to pour water on the fire and not gasoline, And I pray Colossians 4, Lord, open up a door for the gospel to be proclaimed as it ought to be proclaimed here. And those are my two prayers. Lord, restrain the advance of the hands of wicked men and open up a door for the good news of the gospel to go forth, because this place needs good news, and it's been ravaged by bad news for far too long.
Thomas and others believe a worldwide war room of prayer will make a difference on the front lines. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Northern Iraq.
You know, Terry, as you said at the top of the program, there's so much for believers to be praying for.
Yeah, it's really hard to imagine what it must be like to be a Christian in the midst of all of that, standing for your nation, standing for your family, trying to find hope in the midst of chaos. Let's just commit to pray for this region of the world, to pray for our brothers and sisters who are there in the midst of it all, and to pray for the safety of those who continue to fight for freedom.